Hello and welcome to the third workshop for the EduKits Holiday Coding Experience. I'm your host Michael and I'm going to be walking you through two new inventions you can build with the amazing Annoyatron. I'm really looking forward to some of the things we've got planned for you today. So let's jump right in. Today we are going to be learning about how to create, firstly, the decision maker, and secondly, the Wacky word wizard. This is going to be not using any extra parts except your brainboard and your USB cable, and you're going to be able to chat, in a sense, with your inventions. Let's start with the assembly. If you were here with us last week, you may already have an invention assembled. All you need is the brainboard, so make sure you pull out any extra wires, buzzers, anything you don't need, and grab the blue USB cable. Connect one end to the silver hole and slide it in, and then the other end of the USB cable goes into your computer. Because the buzzer's not connected, you shouldn't hear an annoying noise. During this live stream, you can pause at any time. It will always be there. You can go back and watch it afterwards. You can roll it back a few seconds and you can continue watching. If you need to listen back to anything that I've said, or if you want to go over any steps to understand them better. Of course, like with every week, you can always email us your questions and comments live at our email address, which is in the sidebar of the website, or you can type it into your email app with the address ls@edukits.co. That's ls@edukits.co. We'll get to some of the questions you have sent in and are sending in at the end of today's workshop. Now it's time to upload, copy, paste, and upload the code to the brain board so we can get chatting to our little chatbot. On the EduKits website, navigate to the Annoyatron inventions page, which is under Products, the amazing Annoyatron, and Inventions. Let's scroll down until we find the decision maker. The decision maker image is a top hat on top of a brain, and it says decision maker. Just click on it and it will take you to the page. The way the decision maker works is you ask it a yes/no question, and you type in your question, you hit enter, and it tells you yes or no. And this is picked, the yeses or nos are picked randomly, but the person you're pranking doesn't have to know that. Let's scroll down and you'll see here that yes, we only need the brainboard and the USB cable. And now it's time to code some chaos. This section is where it always is with the amazing Annoyatron. And if you take a look at the code, you'll see there's a lot of different letters and numbers and symbols here. But we'll see what that does in just a moment. Copy the text using the button, or just select it all. Go to the Arduino application, select all the text, backspace it, right click and paste in the new code. Before you upload any code, you just need to make sure you've selected the right port for your computer. This can be done in the top menu, which says Tools, Port, and select the option that says Arduino Uno. Now, some of you reported last week that you weren't able to find the port option. This can happen if your brainboard is not connected properly to your computer, or you don't have the right version of the software installed. So, the first step is to check that you have your lights on the board. If the lights are off, this means that it doesn't have power or isn't connected properly. Or the board is broken. The first thing to do is to push the USB cable a little bit harder into the brainboard. If you don't see the lights still working, if you still don't see the lights working, check the other end of the cable and push it a little bit tighter into the computer. If that doesn't work, try a different USB port. Otherwise, do get in touch with us at our email address ls@edukits.co, and we'll be able to work with you to fix things up. Now it's time to upload this code to the brainboard. Let's hit the right-facing arrow and the code will be compiled and sent. You might have to give it a name. I will call it I can't seem to select all the text. I'll just call it decision maker. Hit save and it will upload. You won't hear any noises or see any lights flash once the code is uploaded because this is purely inside a special window. You need to open a special section of the Arduino software called the serial monitor to access the kind of chatting features. This is found over here in the top right corner of the application where it says serial monitor, and it's this kind of magnifying glass dot picture. If you click on that, you will see an ask away thing pop up. That's really cool. So it says, ask me a question and I will give you a yes, no answer. Now you will see up the top, there's a little bit of jibble jabble jumble, and you can always clear the output down the bottom right. And there's a pink button on the Arduino and you can press that and it will reset the code. Here we go. It's come up again. Wonderful. So ask me a question and I will give you a yes, no answer. The trick here is we have to type in some text, send it, and then it will give us a response. Generally, the typing in the text bit happens on the bottom in most apps, but over here in the serial monitor, it's at the top. You can see that we have a text input field here and a submit button that says send. If you click on the text input field, you can type in your question. So it's my birthday next month. I'm going to ask it, am I going to get any good presents? Get any good presents for my birthday? Whoop. I can hit enter to send it, or I can just click the send button. Beautiful. Am I going to get any good presents for my birthday? Unfortunately, it looks like I'm not. I'll have to speak to my parents about that. It says, now ask me something else. You can type in something different. So, is it going to rain today? Ah, it says no. That's unfortunate. I can click the X icon, which will close the serial monitor. The way this code works is it generates a random number, either 0 or 1, and if it's 0, it says, what does it say if it's 0? I'm just reading the code here. If it's 0, it says yes. If it is 1, it says no. Perfect. Now, people who you're pranking don't have to know this. They can think it's, actually thinking, or it's artificial intelligence. So you can just tell them it's really giving a computer answer there. But it's really just random. Now you can change the text that it asks and displays. I'm going to make this window a little bit bigger so that we can see it. And you can see at the very top we have serial.begin 9600, which that just means we're starting communication between the computer and the board. Down here we have this cool little ask away text, and you can see we're printing in new lines. That's what println means. And we're printing in this cool kind of text font. And down here we have something we can change. Ask me a question and I will give you a yes no answer. So I'm going to change this to, I am the Oracle. Ask me a yes no question. Now, I will leave the \n there because that means new line. So you don't have to change that. And in fact, it's a good thing to leave it there. We can also change the yes and no messages. You can see here that I have, after 2 backslashes, put a, the yes message. And that's not actually code, that's a comment. You can see it's grayed out. So anytime you put 2 backslashes, everything after that point on the line, that is perceived as a comment. Now, I'm going to change the yes message to yes. And I'm going to change the no message to no, which makes it a bit more creepy. And I will leave the last one the same, except I will add a full stop. Now it's time to upload this and test it out. Click the right-facing arrow button, the code will send to your board, and you can open the serial monitor to check it out. Again, you can always clear the output and reset, but that's okay. I will ask, is it going to rain today? Wonderful. We've had a big resounding no from it. Let's close it. Now, there is one tool I'd like to show you that will help you make the decision maker even cooler. If you go to the Holiday Coding Experience page where the live stream is on now, and you scroll down the bottom to our links, we have a Launch Fancy Text Generator. Click on this and it will open in a new tab. You can see that there are a few options. I'm just scrolling down so that you can see them all. There's an option for your text, font, and copy code. And then there's a preview box down below which shows you the text you're going to generate. If you see back in the decision maker, we have this ask away text, which is essentially writing, a big heading using letters, numbers, and symbols, which can be written. And back in the day, there was you have Windows and Mac now, and even iOS on your phone. Everything was actually run through something like the serial monitor. You couldn't send images, or even display them. You couldn't even display images sometimes. And you pretty much only had text to work with. So people came up with really inventive ways to display that. And you can even see on my t-shirt now. There you go. That says EduKits, but it's made of letters and numbers. The same sort of thing as this. We can create our very own version of that and stick it in the serial monitor. So you can change the text to, cool beans or Oracle. This is the one I'm going to be using because, see, I'm the Oracle. The font, you can pick all sorts of things. 3D diagonal, that looks pretty cool. But one of my favorite is 3D slanted. So this is the one I am going to use. I can select this by clicking the copy code button. I will see a pop-up that says copied, and you can then close it and it's copied to your clipboard now. So the important part here is to select and delete the right parts of the text so we get rid of all the ask away message, but also so that we don't affect any of the other code. So you can see we don't want to get rid of this serial.begin, and we also don't want to get rid of this I am the Oracle thing, which is the beginning of our message. So I'm going to select the line before that and go up all the way to line 3. So just after the serial.begin message. I will backspace all of that, and I'll give it a little bit of space by pressing enter twice, and then I will paste the text in there. And you can see it's worked perfectly. Click the right facing upward button and the code will upload, and we can have a look at what it's done. This time I will clear the output. There we go, that looks wonderful. And you can see that our cool new text has arrived. There are some limitations to our fancy text generator. And the first one is that you obviously can't have the text too wide. So if you're using a really big font like this one, you obviously can't have 2 or 3 words or it will go outside of your screen and it will start to overflow and it won't look very good. In fact, I can kind of show you this in the preview window. So as we have more and more letters, Michael is fine, but the moment I go Michael is cool, it kind of goes crazy and you don't want that. So you have to pick a shorter word. So you can just pick Michael. If I go back here, you will also see something down here where it says Sketch uses X number of bytes, and it tells you how much of the program space you've used. Oh, wait, actually, I think we're more in, yes, I think it's dynamic memory we're interested in. You can actually run out of memory on your brainboard in the same way, if you're copying files to a USB stick. If you copy too many movies or too many pictures, then you can run out of space. The same thing's here. And because this isn't, a super powerful computer, it doesn't have heaps of storage. So you do have to be mindful. The second limitation is sometimes you can overload the memory. In that case, reduce the number of letters and pick a smaller font. So something like the standard font is very good, and the rectangle font is even better because it's a little bit smaller and it uses less characters. So now you have the fancy text generator. If you want to have a play around with that, feel free. You can just hit pause on the video and come back later. Or you can keep watching and we will be making the Wacky word wizard, the second of the inventions with the Annoyatron you can build using this serial monitor. Let's head back to the EduKits website, back to the decision maker page. If you scroll up to the top, you can click View All Inventions, which will take you back to the page where you can see all the things you can build with the Annoyatron. This page is accessible from the top of all the project pages. Let's scroll down until we get to the Wacky word wizard, which is this picture of the mustache. Click on that and it will bring you to this page. With this invention, you're not so much asking it questions and having it give an answer, but rather you're typing in something and then it will give you a random sentence. Now, you will have to wait to see me launching the Wacky word wizard to see what I really mean. So let's just copy the code and upload it. The code is down here. You can see we have lots of different words and we have some messages and some serial printing as well. Click the copy button here, get it onto your clipboard. I'll just delete all the text here. Actually, no, I'll create a new one. Delete the text, paste it in. I'll minimize this to get it out of the way and upload. I will name this Wacky. Oh, I can't spell wacky today. Word wizard. Done. Hit the save button and now it is uploading to the brainboard. I'll clear the output so that we can see what's happening and I will press the red reset button on my board. Perfect. It says, do you want me to tell you something? Please answer yes. Let's see if it wants to work for me now. It wasn't working earlier in the day when I tested this. Okay, so we will have to make one code modification. So where it says serial.readString, this is on line 26, equals yes. Change the first equals to an exclamation mark and change yes to no. Then upload it. This should work now. What this is saying is instead of checking for it to say yes, checking for it not to say no. Okay, perfect. Now you can type in yes, hit enter. I'm not sure why this is happening because I wrote this code and it worked before, but that's okay. I'll fix it up later on the actual website, but for now just use that modification. It says, the Prime Minister secretly enjoys going homework. That makes no sense, and this is exactly what the Wacky word wizard does. It throws together random sentences of complete and utter nonsense. You can keep on going, and you can in fact type anything in now, and it will give you another random sentence. In her spare time, the Queen likes feeding art. Did you guys know that? Because I certainly didn't. There are a few things we can change to give this Wacky word wizard a little bit more personality. So let's hit X and expand this box. Here we go. You can see that there are lots of different text fields here. The first one, we can change the opening message. It says, do you want me to tell you something? Now we can just change this to type anything and I'll say something random. Perfect. And we can go, that was exciting. Type something again. And that will trigger it again. So now we've changed some of the messages, but the important thing and the cool thing is to change how the sentences are generated. The sentences are pretty much like a hamburger or a sandwich. They're essentially like stacked on top of each other. So we have an opening, which is the first part of the sentence, we have the middle of the sentence, and we have the ending. And it picks a random one for each, so like a random top bun, a random patty, and a random base bun. And it puts them together, and it picks from these things called strings, and they're actually groups of strings or arrays. So you can see that we have different phrases separated by commas, and there's phrases in word 1, word 2, and word 3. Word 1 is the opening, word 2 is the middle of the sentence, and word 3 is the end. You can change any of these. So we can change school to work, burgers to wraps. Time machines don't exist, so we'll create watches or something. Me can be you. Art can be, we can change it to fine art. Homework can be projects. Insanity can be craziness. And the computer can be the MacBook. There we go. Now this will only change the last part of the sentence, but you'll soon see when I upload this, you'll recognize that every time we generate some random text, so just type something, it will pick one of those things we just typed in. There we go, getting work. This used to be school. And I've typed something, it says, well, I don't like telling watches. And that used to be time machines. So you can edit the different parts of the sentence and it will smash them together essentially in a random order to create nonsense. The last thing I want to show you how to do is how to use the fancy text generator with the Wacky Word Wizard. I'm going to hit X on the serial monitor and I'm going to go back to our fancy text generator. This time I want to create the text wizard because it's the Wacky Word Wizard. And I will go under, I think there's Ghost. That was cool. Yes, this is the one, the Ghost font. I will copy this to my clipboard. I think that looks really cool. Let's go to the Arduino app and you can see under serial.begin 9600, go to the end of that line, hit enter twice to give it a bit of space. Then you can paste in the text from your clipboard. Perfect. Now it will look a bit funny, that's okay. Hit the upload button, and what you'll see when you open the serial monitor is whatever text you've got there will paste at the very start, the very opening. Here we go. We've got a low memory problem. So you will need to watch out with some of your fonts here. Let's open the serial monitor. I'll just clear the output and reset it again. There we go. That looks really cool. Now I'll type something and it will say something. Here we go. Well, in her spare time, the Queen likes. Interesting. Makes no sense. That's why it's called the Wacky Word Wizard. Before we go on to some of the questions you have asked us today, there are a few coming in now. We will go over how to use this serial monitor within Codekit. Last week we used a cool tool. I'll open it up now. It's under EduKits website and you just click the code and launch web app. It's called Codekit and you can create code for your brainboard using colorful drag and drop blocks. Over here, I'll just have to reset the preferences so that I can see the same things that you'll be seeing. Perfect, I've just selected the Annoyatron, get started. You can see that we have different categories over here on the left-hand side. And there's a category called messaging that you can turn on, which will allow you to add serial monitor control. If you click the settings icon, which is this cog over here, select the messaging checkbox. I'll turn off some of these ones. We don't need functions variable color for the moment. That'll just give me some more space. Click close and we can see a messaging option. If you click on the messaging, you can see we have different options for, setting a timeout, but let's start with a set serial. So remember, we had to set the serial to 9600, which essentially started communication between the computer and the brainboard. And you'll see that writes it over here. Then you can send messages. You can grab some text and you can write something like, hello world. And there's also a checkbox to say whether the text starts on a new line. Wonderful. Now, I think that partly answers one of the first questions that we have today, which is from Hudson. It says, what are some of the other ways you can use the serial monitor? That's a great question. You can use the serial monitor to do all sorts of things. You can use it to display data from your sensors. So if you've got a light sensor, you can print whether it's light or dark. You can use it in Codekit here. And in fact, you can use the serial monitor with an if block. So you can say, if something happens, and you can also get another if block. So if something else happens, and you can duplicate this serial printing so that you can say, you know, light or dark, for example. You can grab an input and you can say if light sensor is light, duplicate this one, and then say if light sensor is dark. Great. And even better, you can see that over here, all the code is automatically generated for you, which is my favorite thing about Codekit. You can change things and experiment with them, and you don't have to touch the code, which can sometimes be a little bit scary. And also things can sometimes go wrong when you're editing code. So that brings us almost to a close for this week's workshop. It looks like there are some problems getting in the questions for today. They don't seem to be populating on my Excel spreadsheet as they normally do. That's okay. We'll have someone get onto the emails right after this workshop and answer your questions and also respond to your comments. Thank you for joining this week. I hope you can join us again next week. Just a note about next week's workshop. We are having it on Monday rather than Thursday because a lot of you will be going back to school by then. It's the end of the holidays. I know you may not like school, you may like school, but it's happening. So we are going to be back on Monday. Enjoy the last few days of your holiday, and I hope to see you back soon.